Welcome to the Meteorology Matters podcast. We're the place where we take a closer look at the powerful forces shaping our weather and really try to bring you the most important insights without all the jargon.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving deep into the Atlantic hurricane season. We're focusing on a pretty significant system that's, well, it's on everyone's radar right now, Hurricane Erin.
Mm-hmm. Good knowing.
Yeah, and we'll also touch on a couple of other tropical waves that are, just getting started out there.
Right.
Our mission today is really to unpack the very latest data, help you understand what it means for conditions along the coast, and just give you the knowledge you need to stay well informed.
And it's a crucial time of year for this stuff.
Absolutely. And with us, as always, is our expert guide to this complex world of weather.
Great to be here. Lots to talk about today.
Definitely. Now, before we jump in, if you want to stay even more informed, maybe get some real-time updates from a trusted voice, make sure you follow meteorologist Rob Jones.
Oh, yeah. Rob's excellent.
On Instagram, his handle is super easy. It's just meteorologist.
Simple enough.
And on TikTok, you can find him at TV Meteorologist.
Got it.
And for our YouTube listeners, follow Rob Jones Hurricane. That's where you'll also find the entire Meteorology Matters podcast playlist, actually.
Oh, handy.
Yeah, you won't want to miss his live updates, especially with active systems like Erin out there.
No, definitely not. And the information we're about to discuss today, it's really vital for anyone in coastal areas or, even if you just have interest there.
Right.
We'll break down what's happening, why it matters, and what to keep an eye on.
Okay, let's get right into it then with Hurricane Erin. It's currently the most active system out there, the one demanding the most attention. What's the absolute latest as of this Tuesday, August 19th?
Okay, so as of 2:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, the National Hurricane Center in Miami is issuing regular advisories on Hurricane Erin.
Mm-hmm.
Its current position puts it a couple hundred miles to the northeast of the Southeast Bahamas.
Okay, so still offshore, but, definitely relevant.
Definitely relevant. And it's an active system, meaning, continuous monitoring, constant updates are being issued. As new data comes in, they're watching it very, very closely.
So what does this hurricane look like up close? You hear about these hurricane hunter flights. What are those vital Air Force reports telling us? They fly right into it, right?
They do, yeah. It's incredible work. And what's fascinating here is the complexity of Erin's structure right now.
Uh-huh.
The cloud pattern continues to be disrupted by vertical wind shear.
Okay, explain shear for us again quickly.
Sure. It's basically winds blowing in different directions or at different speeds at different heights in the atmosphere. Imagine it like trying to build a tower of blocks when the wind keeps changing direction at each level.
Right, it kind of tilts it or tears it apart.
Exactly. It tears at the storm structure. And this shear is leaving the low-level center, the actual core circulation near the surface, situated near the northwestern edge of the main area of deep convection.
So the engine isn't quite under the main thunderstorm activity.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a good way to put it. It's offset. However, even with that disruption, there are still well-defined convective banding features, mostly over the eastern semicircle.
Okay, so what are those bands?
Those are like curved lines of really intense thunderstorms spiraling inwards. Their presence tells us there's still organized activity, still some power there, despite the shear.
Gotcha.
And the Hurricane Hunter aircraft have also reported something interesting. The central pressure has actually risen compared to earlier this morning.
Risen. Doesn't lower pressure usually mean stronger?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
Lower pressure, stronger storm. So a rise usually suggests some weakening, or at least not strengthening.
Right.
The official advisory intensity is set at 90 knots, which translates to 105 miles per hour. So a solid Category 2.
Still very strong.
Oh, absolutely. But it's worth noting that the actual wind observations from the hurricane hunters suggest this intensity estimate might be a little on the high side. It just highlights the challenge, Trying to get a precise measurement in such a dynamic, somewhat disorganized system is really, really tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's not just one simple number.
Not at all.
Okay. And we're hearing a lot about Erin growing in size. How significant is this, and what does it really mean for its power, its potential impact? Because that sounds almost more concerning than just the wind speed number.
This raises a really, really important point about how we perceive hurricane danger.
Sure.
We often fixate on that category number, right? The Saffir-Simpson scale.
Right, Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3.
Exactly. But the storm size, its actual diameter, is just as critical, maybe even more so sometimes, especially for things like storm surge and coastal flooding.
Okay.
So while Erin's top winds have actually weakened slightly down to that Cat 2 level from where they were, the system itself is dramatically growing in size.
How dramatically?
It's already twice as large as it was just a few days ago.
Wow, twice the size.
Yep. And the forecast is for it to become one of the largest major hurricanes that's Category 3 or stronger on record in terms of physical size.
One of the largest major hurricanes ever, size-wise.
Size-wise, yeah. By Wednesday into Thursday, the forecast shows the breadth of its tropical storm winds. That's winds of 39 miles per hour or stronger, reaching over 525 miles across.
500 miles. That's enormous. It's hard to even picture.
It is. To put that in perspective, this would make Erin the largest major hurricane since Fiona back in September 2022. And get this, it would be only the 6th major hurricane to grow to such a colossal size this whole century.
Only the 6th this century. That's rare.
Very rare. And here's the key takeaway. That huge increase in the storm's diameter more than makes up for the slight decrease in peak wind speed when you think about the total energy the storm transfers to the ocean.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, a larger storm pushes a much larger volume of water over a much wider area.
Oh.
So it creates a more extensive impact zone. The storm surge potential is greater over a longer stretch of coast. The waves are generated over a larger fetch. It's just a bigger footprint of danger.
So size matters, maybe even more than peak intensity in some ways?
For widespread coastal impacts like surge and erosion, absolutely. It's about the total energy, not just the peak wind in one tiny spot near the eye.
Okay, that really reframes the threat. So what's the expected path for Erin? Where is this massive system headed, and how is its intensity expected to evolve, considering all these complex factors?
Right now, its initial motion is a bit faster, moving northwest at about 8 knots, roughly 9 miles per hour. The forecast track shows Erin is expected to make a turn northward. It'll curve around the western edge of a big high-pressure system, a subtropical anticyclone, that's centered southeast of Bermuda.
It's like a steering current pushing it north.
Exactly. That high pressure acts like a barrier, steering the storm around it. Then, later in the forecast period, the system should turn more towards the northeast, and it should pick up some forward speed as it gets caught up in the mid-latitude westerlies.
Those are the winds that usually push storms out to sea.
Generally, yes. The prevailing west to east flow higher up in the atmosphere. The good news is that there haven't been significant shifts or big changes in the National Hurricane Center's forecast track recently.
Okay, good. Consistency is helpful.
It is. And the official forecast track is very close to the latest dynamical model consensus, meaning most of these sophisticated computer models agree on the general path. That gives us relatively high confidence in where it's generally headed.
Okay, that's the track. What about the intensity? You said it was tricky.
Yeah, predicting its intensity is somewhat problematic. It's a real challenge right now.
Why is that?
Well, given its current messy look, the disorganization from the shear, you might be hesitant to forecast it getting much stronger.
Right, it doesn't look primed to intensify.
Exactly. But the dynamical models, the complex ones, they're showing increasingly favorable conditions developing above the storm. Specifically, more anticyclonic upper-level flow.
Okay, meaning?
Think of it like the storm's exhaust system. Good outflow aloft, like a well-ventilated chimney, allows the storm to breathe better, pull in more warm, moist air at the surface, and potentially strengthen.
I see. Better ventilation.
Right. And those same models are also showing a significant decrease in that vertical wind shear that's been bothering it.
Ah, so the thing tearing it apart might ease up.
Exactly. So if the shear weakens and the outflow improves,
It could re-strengthen.
it could. Therefore, the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center does show a bit of re-strengthening over the next 36 hours or so.
How much?
Potentially reaching 95 knots, which is about 110 miles per hour. Still a strong Category 2, maybe flirting with Cat 3.
Okay.
Now, this forecast is a little higher than the average model consensus, but it's actually below some other guidance, like the statistical models.
So, still some uncertainty, but leaning towards maintaining strength or slightly increasing.
That's the best way to put it. There's still a range of possibilities.
Yeah.
But the core of the storm, the part with the strongest winds, there's high confidence it will pass somewhere between North Carolina and Bermuda.
Okay, between NC and Bermuda, that's key.
Yes. And it's expected to move fairly slowly through the first half of this week.
Slow is bad for coastal impacts, right? More time for waves and surge.
Definitely. A longer duration of impact Then it should accelerate out to sea on Friday and Saturday.
Okay, this is where it gets really critical for you, our listener, especially if you're anywhere near the East Coast. What are the immediate and the most widespread dangers we need to be aware of from this massive Hurricane Erin?
The number one most immediate and most widespread danger is life-threatening surf and rip currents.
Life-threatening.
Absolutely. These conditions are expected along a huge stretch of coastline, the Bahamas, much of the U.S. East Coast, Bermuda, even Atlantic Canada over the next several days.
Wow, that's a huge area.
It is. The rip current risk is already rated as high along most of the U.S. East Coast right now.
Oh, already?
Yes. And the main swell energy hasn't even fully arrived yet. We're already hearing about rescues happening at beaches in North Carolina.
Jeez.
So it's critical, absolutely critical, that beachgoers in all these areas follow advice from lifeguards and local authorities. Pay attention to those beach warning flags.
Don't underestimate the ocean.
Never. Especially not now. Even knee-level water, with the kind of strong currents Erin will generate, even from hundreds of miles away, can easily knock you off your feet and pull you out.
That's a scary thought, like this knee-deep water.
It's incredibly dangerous. Undertow can be immense.
And what about North Carolina specifically, particularly the Outer Banks? We're hearing about watches being issued there, tropical storm watches, storm surge watches. Sounds serious for those islands.
It is, yeah. The National Hurricane Center has issued a tropical storm watch for eastern North Carolina, specifically because Erin's expanding wind field could brush the Outer Banks.
Okay, a wash means conditions are possible.
Correct. Possible within about 48 hours. In this case, sustained winds of 40 miles per hour or higher, with gusts maybe up to 50 or 60 miles per hour.
Still strong enough to cause damage.
Oh, yeah. Down trees, power outages, definitely makes travel dangerous. So people there need to stay really aware of updates to the wind forecast.
And the storm surge watch. That sounds even more concerning for low-lying areas.
It is, arguably. That watch means there's the possibility the ocean water could rise over 3 feet above the normal high tide level.
3 feet above high tide.
Over 3 feet, yes. And for the Outer Banks specifically and nearby areas, the forecast is actually for potentially 4 feet above normal high tide.
4 feet. That would inundate a lot of areas.
It would put significant pressure on the beaches, dunes, roads, homes, everything near the ocean. And remember, that's the stillwater rise. On top of that, you'll have large, powerful waves.
It's doubly dangerous.
Exactly. And this surge potential isn't just for the Outer Banks. Areas as far south as Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and north up to Norfolk and the Tidewater area of Virginia could see storm surge up to 3 feet above normal.
So the impact is really broad because of the storm size.
Precisely. This surge and the large waves will lead to significant beach erosion and overwash. That's when waves wash over the dunes and onto roads.
Like Highway 12.
Especially Highway 12. It could become impassable in spots. And that's why mandatory evacuations have already been ordered for parts of the Outer Banks, Hatteras Island and Ocracoke Island in Dare County, the really low-lying, vulnerable spots.
Mandatory evacuations already. They're taking it seriously.
As they should. History shows those areas are extremely vulnerable.
So beyond North Carolina and that immediate threat, how far north will these impacts, particularly the dangerous surf and coastal flooding, stretch? And what about rainfall?
Okay, let's trace it up the coast. Through today, strong swells generated by Erin are increasingly reaching the southeast coast, mainly from, say, Palm Beach County in Florida up to Cape Hatteras. These aren't just normal waves.
Yeah.
They're long-period swells, carrying a ton of energy. They'll pound the shorelines for the next 3 days.
3 days of pounding waves.
Yeah, leading to more erosion, overwash, and those dangerous currents we talked about. Even South Florida, though somewhat shielded by the Bahamas, needs to watch for rip current alerts.
Okay. And further north.
Late Wednesday and then right through Friday, those impacts will march north. We're talking the entire northern half of the East Coast.
So Virginia, Delmarva.
Yep, the Tidewater area, Delmarva Peninsula, the Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
coastal Long Island, New England, even eventually into Atlantic Canada.
Wow. All the way up.
All the way up. And the coastal vulnerability, the flooding potential, will peak during high tide cycles.
Right. The storm pushes the tide even higher.
Exactly. You get the normal tide plus the storm surge plus the big waves on top. It's a recipe for a significant coastal flooding and erosion, especially over multiple tide cycles, because Erin is moving relatively slowly at first.
And rainfall? Is that a major concern for the U.S. coast?
For the immediate U.S. coast, the primary threat is really the water impacts from the ocean. The surge, waves, currents, erosion. The heaviest rainfall from Erin's outer bands is more focused currently over the Turks and Caicos and expected tonight for the Bahamas.
Okay.
So flash flooding and urban flooding are possible there. But for the mainland U.S., it's mainly about the coastal and marine hazards.
Got it. Now, you mentioned earlier something about a potential sneaky rain event for the Northeast, a PRE. What is
Yeah.
that exactly, and why flag it if only one model is showing it? Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing, and it's a low-risk scenario right now, but one worth mentioning because the potential impact, if it happened, could be significant locally.
Okay. PRE, predecessor rain event.
Right. It could potentially occur somewhere in the Northeast, maybe Wednesday night into Thursday morning.
How does it work?
Basically, even though Erin itself is still well offshore, its tropical moisture gets drawn northward ahead of the storm. And this plume of moisture can interact with a separate weather feature, like a frontal boundary that might be stalled near, say, Long Island or southern New England.
Okay, tropical moisture meets a front.
Exactly. And when that happens, it can create a narrow but very intense band of heavy rainfall, like focusing a fire hose of tropical moisture.
Leading to localized flooding.
Precisely. Localized downpours,
Right.
much higher rainfall rates than you'd otherwise expect, potential for flash flooding in that narrow strip.
And you called it sneaky. Why?
Because currently, only one of the major global weather models, the European model, is really highlighting this potential strongly.
Just one.
Yeah, the others aren't really seeing it the same way. That makes it a nuanced forecast detail. There isn't strong model consensus.
But the European model is generally well respected.
Very well respected. So when it hints at something like this, even if other models disagree, forecasters pay attention. It represents that low probability, potentially high impact event.
Right. Something to watch, even if it's just an outside chance.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of looking for those subtle signals in the forecast data.
Okay, so Erin is clearly the main event right now, demanding huge attention. But what else is happening out there in the tropical Atlantic? The season feels like it's really churning now.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely an active period. And if we look at the bigger picture, the National Hurricane Center is tracking 2 additional tropical waves moving west across the Atlantic between Africa and the Caribbean.
2 more. Okay.
Yeah, it just reminds you that even with a dominant storm like Erin, the tropics can brew up multiple systems at once. Keeps forecasters very busy.
All right, let's take the first one, the one that's closer to the Leeward Islands. What's its status? What's its potential as we head towards the weekend?
Okay, this system is currently a large, but still pretty disorganized tropical disturbance. It's located over the central tropical Atlantic.
Disorganized showers and storms.
Yep, a broad area of them. But looking ahead, the environmental conditions appear to be becoming more conducive for gradual development. Warmer waters, enough moisture, maybe less wind shear. The ingredients are starting to come together.
Okay.
So there's a chance, a decent chance actually, that a tropical depression could form later this week or maybe over the weekend.
What kind of chance are we talking?
The National Hurricane Center gives it a medium chance of formation through the next 7 days. They put it at 60%.
60%. Okay, that's significant. Where's it headed?
It's expected to move generally westward to northwestward fairly quickly, maybe around 20 miles per hour. On that track, it would approach the vicinity of the northern Leeward Islands, like Antigua, St. Kitts, that area, probably on Friday.
Okay, folks there need to be watching closely then.
Absolutely. And if it strengthens enough, if the winds hit 40 miles per hour, it would get a name. Tropical Storm Fernand.
Fernand. Got it. What happens after the Leeward Islands?
Well, the general consensus among the long-range computer models is that this system, whether it's Fernand or just a disturbance, will likely pass over or near Puerto Rico and the surrounding islands. And then it's forecast to make a turn towards the north.
Recurving.
Looks like it. There's a strong dip in the jet stream expected to move in, which should basically scoop it up and lift it out of the deep tropics.
Does that mean it misses the U.S. East Coast?
It's not clear yet how close it might come after that northward turn. It's still pretty far out. And forecasts for disorganized systems are always, subject to significant changes.
Right. Harder to predict without a clear center.
Exactly. So for now, the main message is awareness, especially for the Caribbean islands first. A system is heading into an area we watch very closely this time of year.
Okay, that's one to watch. What about the other disturbance, the one further east, closer to Africa? How does that one look?
This is another tropical wave, yeah. It's currently located about 100 miles south of the Cabo Verde Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to the other one initially, it's producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms.
But is the environment different for this one?
It seems so. The environmental conditions appear only marginally favorable for development over the next couple of days as it moves west at about 15 miles per hour.
Marginally favorable. Okay, so less potential.
Looks that way. The National Hurricane Center reflects that they give it only a low chance of development, just 30% through the next 48 hours, and also only 30% through the next 7 days.
Low chance. Okay. Why is that?
Well, looking further down the road, towards the end of this week, this system is forecast to encounter a less favorable environment.
Less favorable how?
The computer models suggest it's going to run into a lot of dry air.
Ah, dry air kills tropical storms.
It really does. It chokes off the moisture they need. Plus, the models also show an upper-level wind pattern that's not very conducive, maybe too much shear again, or poor outflow.
So even if it looks vigorous on satellite sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes these waves can look impressive visually with big bursts of thunderstorms, but if the surrounding atmosphere isn't right, they just can't get organized or sustain themselves.
Makes sense.
The models generally don't do much with this one in terms of development. But, it's hurricane season.
You watch everything.
I watch everything carefully, yeah. Conditions can always change, unexpectedly.
It's just so clear, listening to all this, that forecasting these systems, Erin's intensity, its size, these other waves, it's just a massive ongoing scientific effort, isn't it? What does this deep dive really tell us about how the National Hurricane Center works and the challenges they face?
It really highlights the dynamic nature of forecasting. Absolutely. The advisories and discussions we're talking about, they aren't static predictions.
Yeah.
They're constantly being refined based on a huge flow of incoming data.
Like the Hurricane Hunter data we mentioned.
Exactly. That's critical, real-time, ground truth, or maybe air truth data. For Erin, we see that constant balancing act forecasters have to perform.
Balancing what?
Balancing the storm's current appearance, the messy structure due to shear, against other factors like the improving upper-level outflow or the forecast decrease in shear, which both suggest potential strengthening.
Right, conflicting signals almost.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
It's complex physics playing out. And then there's the size factor with Erin. The global models showing this dramatic increase in size is a huge piece of the puzzle.
And you said that might mean the standard risk products underestimate the wind threat.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Those probability tools often rely on averages, and Erin's forecast wind field is much larger than average, so the actual area likely to experience hazardous winds could be wider than those standard tools suggest. It challenges assumptions.
It really forces you to look beyond just the category number.
Absolutely. And for those other, less organized tropical waves, the challenge is different but just as tough, without that well-defined center.
It's hard for the models to lock onto a track.
Exactly. Predicting the long-term track and intensity is really difficult until the system gets better organized. It's like trying to predict where smoke will go before it's clearly rising from a chimney.
That's a good analogy.
And even that single model hinting at the PRE, the predecessor rain event,
Yep.
It just underscores how forecasters have to consider every piece of data, every possible scenario, even low probability ones, because the local impact could still be significant. It's this constant synthesis of data, models, and expert judgment. It's incredibly demanding work.
So pulling this all together for you, our listener, what does this mean in terms of preparedness? What's the bottom line, the key takeaway for staying safe with Erin and these other systems out there?
The key message always is preparedness and vigilance. Don't wait.
Okay.
Erin is expected to produce life-threatening surf and rip currents along huge stretches of the coast. Bahamas, U.S. East Coast, Bermuda, Atlantic Canada. That's a certainty.
Don't go in the water.
Please don't, unless lifeguards say it's safe, and heed those flags. For North Carolina, especially the Outer Banks, storm surge, flooding, and tropical storm conditions are expected. That's why evacuations are happening.
Right.
Heavy rainfall is also a threat for the Turks and Caicos in the Bahamas, leading to potential flash floods there.
And further up the U.S. coast.
Interests along the Mid-Atlantic, southern New England coasts, and Bermuda need to monitor Erin's progress closely for strong winds, possibly arriving Thursday and Friday, along with those dangerous coastal conditions.
And it's a long event.
Yes, that's crucial. It's a long-duration event. That increased wave energy and potential surge will affect multiple high tide cycles, making coastal flooding and erosion worse over several days.
So what should people do?
Follow advice from your local emergency managers and authorities. Listen to lifeguards. Heed all warnings and watches issued for your area.
Know the difference between a watch and a warning.
Yes. A watch means be prepared. Conditions are possible. A warning means take action. Conditions are expected or imminent. And please remember how dangerous even shallow water can be with these powerful currents.
Even knee-deep?
Even knee-deep. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NRAA, through the National Hurricane Center, has fantastic resources online about hurricane preparedness. Use them. Make a plan. Be ready.
Great advice. Stay informed, stay prepared. Hashtag outro.
Wow, what a really thorough look at everything happening in the Atlantic right now. We've seen how Hurricane Erin, even with some intensity ups and downs, poses this really significant widespread threat, mainly because of its incredible size.
Yeah, that size factor is key.
Yeah, driving dangerous surf, rip currents, and that critical storm surge potential. It really challenges how we usually think about hurricane danger, doesn't it?
It really does. It forces a broader perspective.
And we've also touched on those other systems brewing, just reminding us the season is active and far from over.
Indeed. Understanding these dynamics, the forecasting challenges, it helps appreciate the sheer scale of these events and really the constant need for vigilance.
So as you, our listener, reflect on our discussion today about Erin, about forecasting, maybe consider this. We often focus on the peak, right?
Yeah.
The strongest wind, the highest point. But Erin is showing us that sometimes the biggest impact comes from something less obvious, like its sheer breadth.
The overall footprint. Exactly. So how might that apply elsewhere in your life? When you're looking at complex information, maybe it's financial news, maybe a social issue, a work project, are you maybe focusing too much on the peak intensity, the headline number, while a larger, maybe quieter breadth of influence is actually shaping the real outcome?
That's a fascinating thought.
What seemingly minor details, once you understand them, actually reveal the bigger picture? Something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Meteorology Matters podcast. And a huge thank you to our expert for sharing such invaluable, detailed insights today.
Always a pleasure. Glad I could help break it down.
And remember, if you want to stay even more informed with real-time updates, do follow meteorologist Rob Jones. On Instagram, he's just meteorologist.
You're fine.
On TikTok, he's TV meteorologist. And on YouTube, look for Rob Jones Hurricane. That's also where you can find our entire Meteorology Matters podcast playlist.
Check him out.
Stay safe out there, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time on Meteorology Matters.